creatures from the world of the undead.
The most bizarre.
Devil worship, Satanism, black magic, or witchcraft. Zodiac killer.
All lights go out and the monsters are released from their coffins.
Now, prepare yourself for the most gruesome and grotesque experience of them all. The Creep-O-Rama.
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, even some of the releases that we've done, it's like you spend so much time going, this is going to crush. This is going to do fucking great. Everything is lined up. Like, it could not fail. Then it just explodes. Then it's like you're putting it out into the ether and nobody gives a shit.
Well, it's like you think you could expect or anticipate what's going to happen.
See, you know what, Justin? I think that's the problem. We need to stop being confident in our releases. When we're done with it, we need to be like, this isn't going to do shit. This is fucking terrible.
Dumb. And then why are we doing this?
It's the confidence. We can't be confident people, Justin.
No,
that's
we can't.
The problem.
That's probably the problem. But you know who can be confident?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. Maybe that's where we've... Maybe that's where
whoever said believe in yourself was full of shit. That's not the secret at all.
No, the secret is...
Unless you're Jean-Claude Van Damme.
The secret is to do fucking splits while you're Jean-Claude Van Damme, dude.
You know what?
Which he apparently struggled with in both of these films, which I thought was a fun little plot point. It was like, this is him before he could do the splits.
Right.
He had some like torture chamber shit to figure out how to do it.
Really did.
What's funny? So what's funny is
old Asian guys just ripping your fucking legs apart.
You gotta be real careful about those old Asian guys. What's funny is
outside on trees though. Both of them.
Watching Kickboxer, I was like, oh, okay. I don't remember watching this movie as a kid. And then it started coming back to me. And then because I was like, oh, this is the one with the dickhead old Asian guy, and they do the rope with the legs and like all the different training and stuff. And the kicking the tree is the thing that's like actually confirms like I have seen this movie. Because that's not in Bloodsport. However, I put on Bloodsport 2 hours ago, and I went, oh, fuck, it's in this one, too. There's a dickhead Asian guy. There's a fucking rope shit. Oh, man. God damn it. No. Now I know, though. Kicking the tree, because I fucked my leg up kicking random shit.
You're not a trained Muay Thai fighter, man. You
was when I was 8.
You have to kick it more often over a long period of time.
That's the problem is I kicked it more often and I fucked my leg up.
They think kids are going to be like given the wrong idea from video games, or they're going to do drugs because they think it's cool in the movies. No, it's young boys just splitting their shins open on trees because they saw Jean-Claude Van Damme do it in Kickboxer. I could take down a tree.
I wonder how many concussions there are from little kids trying to do like a one-leg split kick and they just fall and hit their fucking head.
Plenty. I would
frequent
assume.
In the 80s. Frequent in the 80s. And
JCVD movies have to be the main source of childhood injuries in the 90s. Like, there's no way they're not.
I know Rocky is responsible for a lot of people wanting to work out and get jacked and fight.
Right.
And that's maybe Gen X, where, you know, that was more their childhood, possibly, I would imagine. Maybe us.
Maybe a little crossover into Boomer.
Maybe. Maybe.
It was
where, like,
70s,
I mean,
right?
Yeah, it was 76. Rocky,
I think 76.
Maybe? But you know, look, I saw Rocky at a relatively young age, and I felt like it had that, like, oh god, I want to go fucking punch a punching bag and you know, run in a sweater.
Up some stairs.
But Van Damme, I feel maybe it was our generation, or maybe he did it to
Bloodsport was different.
Yeah, oh, dude.
Bloodsport was just different.
I was convinced I'd become a professional fighter after watching this movie. Like, this is where my life, the trajectory has started down.
Well, because I saw...
Figured out what I want to be when I grow up, Mom.
I didn't know what I was going to look like when I was 8, when I grew up. But for some reason, I immediately resonated with Jackson. And I was like, oh, bro, if he could do it, I could go to the Kumite.
Yeah.
Yeah, then at some point I realized like I'm actually just like a timid pussy. So I was like, oh no, like I can't do that. Like I can't be a professional fighter.
I don't want to be punched in the face. I just don't.
You know,
it scares me a lot.
Yeah. Fight or flight.
But you know what I am good at? Talking about these movies. With other guys who had the same dream for a brief moment.
You know what I might really excel at? Talking the guy down. Being like, what? We don't need to have a fight right now. And all the judges are like, it's the Kumite. What are you doing?
Yeah, I've been training for this since I was in middle school, bro. Yeah. You're not going to stop me.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
you know what? Like, we've been training since we were in middle school too. It's just a little different. It's a little different.
Yeah. Speaking of that, this Kumite shit is supposed to be the secret fucking thing that everyone in this goddamn movie talks about in public. No less.
I love the scene is. She's talking to the two Chinese dudes or Japanese, I don't know, but they're from somewhere else.
It's in
China for sure. Yeah. But I don't know the ethnicities of all these people because they really just do some shit.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So I'm like, I don't know. But she's talking to the two dudes at the bar and she's like, so you guys are here for the Kumite, and they're stonewalling the shit out of her. And then Mr. Lin comes out and is like, so you guys are going to the Kumite. It is what it is. Follow me if you want to know where the Kumite is. Jesus Christ, Lin, calm down.
Yeah.
In the middle of the hotel lobby.
Right?
Yeah. I love when they first meet Frank and Jackson. That would Yeah. So they first meet. And I mean, fast forward to 24 hours after that, where, I mean, maybe it's 48 hours, somewhere between 24 to 48 hours. And Jackson gets completely stomped by Chung Lee, hospitalized.
Yeah.
And then Dukes goes to visit him at the hospital, bedside, kisses him, tells him he loves him. Where he's like, they've just met.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's just like, Jackson's like, I'll be there for you forever. Like
the only real bonding moment they have is playing
by the video game
in the arcade. Yeah.
That's all it took.
That's all it took. You know what? I get it.
Yeah.
87.
We all had a friend that we met at the arcade when you were like, I need somebody as my player 2 in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
we're like, all right.
And you guys were best friends for like a fucking hour.
See, that's the difference. You gotta play the video game and then immediately go to the Kumite, so the best friend part doesn't wear out. So you can really re-up that of watching some fights as well.
Right. Yeah, my memory did not serve me right in this movie. Like, I felt like they were just childhood buddies. I completely forgot that they'd known each other for 24 hours. Like,
well, that's essentially Kickboxer, right?
Yeah.
That was his brother.
Oh, is it? I mean, I would hope that they were childhood friends if he was his brother.
Yeah,
right.
Kickboxer's his brother, but this one it is. That's why it was so funny reading all the reviews because they were like, "This is essentially Bloodsport again." Just like the same basic plot is you got to get vengeance because somebody close to you was seriously injured by a big, like scary Asian fighter, and I'm like, "Oh, these are almost like the same movie." And I don't know which one I saw more as a kid because watching Bloodsport, I was like, I don't remember most of this. Like when they meet at the arcade game, I was like, oh, is this like another villain that he has to fight? Like, is this guy going to be a piece of shit? And then I'm like, oh no, they're best friends immediately. Like, this guy's awesome. Everyone needs a Jackson in their life. And, I was surprised.
I think the big difference between them is Kickboxer really focuses specifically just on the training and the one fucking fight.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool because
it's more
really
of a movie.
Yeah. Whereas Bloodsport is like, here's just the whole adventure.
It's a tournament.
Martial arts
shows
exposition.
And it's 90 minutes of just being rock hard. Just nonstop.
You talking about the movie or the audience?
Both.
The one audience in Justin's living room watching the movie.
Rock hard. I'd say Kickboxer was
fucking thing
funnier.
Yeah,
Kickboxer had a lot more.
Dude, it's got the dance
injected into it. Yeah,
it's got the fucking dance.
But
it's
Bloodsport had
PG-13.
some very romantic music in Bloodsport, though. Like moments where I was like, "This is
dude." Whenever they
odd
started
music choice.
Kumite, I was like,
I love the music in Bloodsport,
dude,
especially
so
the
good.
intro music. The intro music is,
it's great.
which is like throughout the movie at some.
Just you watch martial arts movies nowadays, and they always put some shitty, like fast-paced, like intense, like house music or something behind there. But you watch this one, and you're just like,
which unfortunately you might have to give Mortal Kombat the blame for that.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's where that started with, because that was like all industrial and electronica. So
that gets a pass though, because that Mortal Kombat.
No. Mortal Kombat. I'm saying everything after that.
Everything after that was just a ripoff. Yeah.
But you know, Kickboxer has the famous JCVD dance scene.
Yes,
and
the best.
No matter how many times I see it, it's glorious.
You know what? It's proof that you learn something every day, because this time I've only seen that shot in like GIFs for the longest time.
Yeah.
And seeing it on an actual screen and being able to see it, I realized something that I never realized before.
His
so hard. Tank top is suspenders?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
What?
And like a half zip corset thing?
Right. Dude, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Right. Peak fashion.
Peak.
Well, it's a spandex, probably onesie kind of thing, you know?
Oh, so you think it tucks under the crotch?
Oh, totally.
I'm convinced every shirt Van Damme wears is like that. Like all his tucked in shirts are
total onesie. It's got like the shorts.
So we saw him getting dressed in Bloodsport, and he's got just the red briefs on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he just like looks at her in bed, and maybe that's him hesitating. He's like, I don't want you to see me snap my onesie on.
Turn over.
And then put on my slacks.
Please turn over. I have to finish getting dressed, and you cannot see it.
Right.
Russian Van Damme. That dance scene, I had to keep some stats. I counted 13 hand claps and 4 splits, counting the jumping split kick.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 13 hand claps. He couldn't help. And that's what made the scene, right? I don't know how many they cut.
It's that, and however
can't help himself.
This is said sort of sarcastically, but however he makes his body so fluid.
Right. Dude,
it's like water, lessons. Dude.
It's kind of like if he was doing an Axl Rose sway, but then he was also clapping, but he doesn't have a mic stand.
Right.
That's probably, that sounds like the exact approach he was going for.
Right.
I forgot that it ended in the dance fight. And I also forgot that he was supposed to be like crazy drunk as this stumbling dancer.
Yeah.
So
but
good.
I hadn't seen Kickboxer in ages. And as I was watching it, I was like, oh wow, I remember every fucking frame of this movie because I watched it so much as a kid.
I feel like it was on the movie channels a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. I love that movie, and I don't think I love it more than Bloodsport, but those have got to be my 2 favorite Van Damme movies. I know they're practically the same, but something about it's like
it's 2 sides of the same coin,
right? What you get through Kickboxer is what you don't get in Bloodsport,
and vice versa. Because Kickboxer isn't as violent. It's still violent. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But like it's more like cartoony violence, whereas Bloodsport's like knee to the fucking face violence.
Right. And the villain in Kickboxer, I don't think he's as intimidating as the villain in Bloodsport, but you spend more time dealing with the
a little more dark too.
He's a little more fucked up.
Right.
It's interesting because Bolo looks, speaking of the combination of like realistic versus cartoonish, Bolo looks like a more cartoony villain. But
he's got to have the biggest pecs of all time. Like it's the most massive chest.
Massive.
Physically, Bolo is way scarier, but like vibe, Tong Po looks like
evil, dude.
He looks like an actual evil kickboxer, right?
Yeah,
he looks like. I mean, I'm assuming I didn't really look into the guy that played him, but like I'm assuming he's actually a fighter because he looks like he's
actually evil.
Yeah,
he's actually a piece of shit. Yeah. They casted a real piece of shit.
He's an actual serial killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also the not to say that he wasn't a fish out of water scenario in Bloodsport, but it's more of that in Kickboxer, where he feels totally alien.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm not supposed to be here, and now I got to go through all of this shit. It tells more of a story
I think his acting is a little. I mean, it happens after Bloodsport. It's filmed after Bloodsport, and I think his acting has improved in the couple years. Not
for
a
sure.
lot,
Yeah,
but like it's been a couple years, so you could tell like, oh, okay, he knows more what he's doing now, and whoever was making the movie was a better filmmaker.
Yeah. The guy who made Bloodsport only made one movie.
Yeah,
and I think the guy, I forgot to write it down, but isn't the guy who made Kickboxer? Didn't he work on Bloodsport?
Did he?
That would I think so.
Yeah, I think he's like one of the fight choreographers or something.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And JCVD was the main fight. He directed all the fights in Kickboxer.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it was essentially like him doing a Rambo, but he was like, we're just going to make the movie that we should make.
Yeah, I think so.
That's fucking cool.
Well, I think he also helped with a lot of the editing for Bloodsport, like the first several versions that they were, it all just looked like shit.
You could definitely tell like parts of that beginning are like rough.
Fuck, the first 20 minutes of Bloodsport was so the fucking kids.
Yeah,
dude. He shows up in a San Francisco Giants hat and a New York Giants shirt. Like the script just said, kid is obviously a Giants fan, and they just didn't bother looking into which team. So they're like, just get a bunch of Giants shit.
No. He just likes Giants.
Yeah,
right.
He has nothing to do with sports.
I don't actually pay attention to sports. I just like Giants.
Yeah, I fucking love Giants, dude.
But when they when he's having the memory of them breaking into the house to fuck with the sword, I should have counted this the way Derek counted the claps. How many times they cut back to Jean-Claude Van Damme just looking at the sword and still remembering this entire history. Because they cut to his face just at this. They probably only filmed like 2 seconds of it and just kept inserting the same shot of him looking at the sword. But it's literally like every 20 to 30 seconds, they're like, these kids meet, they do this. Jean-Claude's still remembering this by staring at the sword. Yeah. And then the kids do this, and he's still very much remembering this moment. Like, in case you forgot, this is all him having a memory while he stares at the sword. Don't lose track.
My favorite part of Bloodsport is the Jean-Claude Van Damme kid and him like pretending to have an accent.
Dude, but he nails it. That kid nailed his fucking accent. The kid that's an Oscar-worthy performance of mimicking JCVD, dude.
Specifically Jean-Claude Van Damme's accent, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that kid
sounds like
he had one job.
It could have been Van Damme doing the ADR and they just like pitched it up or something. The ADR, it doesn't sound like it's recorded. That kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was that kid, dude. I think it was one of the notes that I had during the opening of Bloodsport where they're showing, I mean, it opens up with a montage, you know, how, like you can't get any better than that. But all of the characters, especially once the tournament starts, all of the characters in Bloodsport feel so much more Street Fighter than the Street Fighter film did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't think Street Fighter was even around then.
No. Mortal Kombat wasn't either. In fact, because I know we had talked about it in previous episodes that Johnny Cage was modeled after Van Damme. I didn't realize the entire game Mortal Kombat was modeled after Bloodsport. They got they wanted to name it Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get the rights to it. Yeah. So they basically were trying to make a Bloodsport video game. Wow. And they just ended up having to call it Mortal Kombat.
Which I think, honestly, it's way better as Mortal Kombat because you can
for sure.
In all crazy wizard shit. Just to fact check, the original Street Fighter game came out in 1987.
No, really?
Wow. Yeah. God, is that old?
Shit.
That's the arcade game then, it wasn't on NES.
Yeah, no arcade.
Right?
I think the first home version of Street Fighter was Super Nintendo, Sega.
Right.
Yeah. That's crazy. But that's
crazy,
wild.
Right?
Yeah, I thought that it came out early 90s with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh no, I knew Street Fighter was around for a while before Mortal Kombat because I woke up every morning playing Nintendo or Sega, and all I had was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and that was before I had access to Mortal Kombat for sure.
Love that game,
dude. It's honestly still the best Street Fighter game.
Yeah, that was.
Well, and Bloodsport came out 1988, but I think it was shelved for a year or two, right? Like it didn't come out.
Really?
For like a couple.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I think it was a couple years. You know, you'd think I'd have the answer to that because we do a podcast. We research these movies. I mean, I know one of the reasons was editing. Like there was a lot of issues with the editing. But yeah, I don't know exactly. There were certainly other reasons as to why I got.
It's wild to really stop and consider the fact that this is his first main movie role. And it defined a fucking genre. Well, it defined the end of a whole era of films
and the beginning of a new one.
Yeah. It's fucking wild that I mean, when that drops and that's your first real movie, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then
it's crazy.
Then watching the rest of these over the last 5 weeks. I'm not saying the rest of his movies are shit. I had a lot of fun with this fucking 5-week marathon throughout
this entire thing has been significantly less shit than I thought it would be.
Right.
It's awesome.
Right. It's been a lot of fun. But after now watching Kickboxer and Bloodsport, that's not to take away from Hard Target or Time Cop or Sudden Death, which I really had a lot of fun with that. But these two movies are so fucking on point and so perfect for the era that
they know exactly what
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quintessential Van Damme. Like those other movies, like they belong, you know, they are Van Damme movies, but this is like what defined Van Damme, what propelled his career to make those other movies.
Right.
Which is crazy because like he got paid $25,000 for Bloodsport.
That's it?
Yeah. Wow. Even in 1980, he had money. That's still.
Yeah.
God, I hope he made fucking residuals on it. Jesus Christ.
I don't think so. And also, I saw an interview that he did. He was on a podcast like 5 or 6 years ago. And they were asking him stuff like that. Even with Mortal Kombat, they're like, this whole game is like based off that movie. They got that character based off you. He's like, yeah. He's like, I've never seen a penny. It's like, I should have, you know. It's like it's his likeness, but they couldn't get his likeness, so they had to like change it a little bit. But he got paid $25,000 for that. I don't recall what his next movie was after Bloodsport, but in that interview, he said he got paid $75,000 for that one, and it was all like incremental, like small increases like that. And then obviously he was like
sense because he's a new
Kickboxer, the one that was right after Bloodsport.
Really,
that's what he went and made, but then Cyborg came out in between those two because Cyborg was filmed before Bloodsport.
Yeah, but we can't count Cyborg as an evolution of
no, it's
can't even count that as a movie.
Come on now. It had sets. But it had sets and actors.
He'd already been paid for it. So the next one he made after Bloodsport was then Kickboxer. Yeah.
He got it. Yeah.
So does that mean he only got paid $20,000 for Cyborg or like $15,000 or something?
I don't even know if they had that.
They didn't even pay him.
Yeah,
he just showed up and they were like, "You get in the movie."
Okay, I'll be the star.
Yes.
In hindsight, it's kind of crazy knowing that and seeing like, you know, just a handful of years later for Street Fighters, like, I should be getting paid like Jim Carrey does. Like, I should be getting $20 million for Street Fighter.
For Street Fighter.
Oh, Black Eagle. Black Eagle was in the middle there too. So that
we didn't even watch that.
We haven't watched that one yet. Yeah, that'll be
on the next set.
Another 5 weeks.
Let's just keep going, dude. Let's just keep going.
I'm sure the audience will love that.
Right?
Yeah. Like, that company.
Our 5 listeners are clamoring for us to
Exorcist
stop.
and the Shining shirts from. Yeah, they're doing a podcast all about Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Oh. It's been 15 years of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Yeah.
Now it's called the Creep Van Damme podcast.
Like the Titanic gif that keeps making its way into places. Like, it's been 84 years. Whatever the fuck.
Please watch a horror movie. Stop talking about his splits.
Jean-Claude Van Damme has been dead for 32 years, and we're still watching his movies.
He's not dead in my heart.
Never.
As long as this podcast continues, Jean-Claude Van Damme will live forever.
You know what's crazy is Forest Whitaker is in Bloodsport.
Dude,
That's
every fucking time I watch this movie,
Yeah.
watching the credits, they go, Forest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh,
awesome.
right, he's one of the feds. And then I completely forget that he's in the movie. And the next time I watch the movie, I'm like, Forest Whitaker.
Yeah.
I love the I catch this every time I watch it. Whenever him and his partner are at the outdoor restaurant thing, and he's talking about his food, you can tell like there's no direction going on from the director. And he's like sitting there trying to make conversation about this food and trying to figure out what to do with the food. That doesn't entail eating the food on camera, waiting for the dude to come in. And it goes so fucking long where it's like, okay, I got to take the food. I'm going to put it in this thing. And then I'm going to take this bowl and I'm going to fill it with this. And then I don't know what to do with my hands. And then the guy finally comes in and then he just throws it on the floor.
I also love, I feel like Forest Whitaker could probably use chopsticks. I just have a feeling.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he's like pretending to not be able. And then what kills me is he throws what is clearly a piece of beef to the dog and goes, enjoy the eel.
Right.
Like, that's not eel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he say eel?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he said eel.
I think so.
I didn't catch that. I knew he said something that it wasn't what he threw. Like it felt off. I didn't realize he said eel.
Also, I feel
maybe
like
he said meal.
Maybe. But also, I love that the dog, like clearly it wasn't real food because the dog looks at it like, what the fuck?
Right. It's prop shit.
Yeah.
I love that they kept all the this is entirely based on a true story bullshit. At the it's been
I was going to ask you guys.
Disproven.
I was going to say, Frank.
Well, it's a real guy, and
Frank Dux is a real guy, but he claimed that the Kumite was a real tournament that he fought in, and that he set all these records. And so Sheldon Badichou wrote the script with him.
Book called Kumite?
I think so. Yeah, and he opened like his own jujitsu American like jujitsu fusion
so he's a real Steven Seagal
studio
kind of guy.
Okay. And the guy who wrote it with him was like, he claimed all this shit happens, and he's like, and I figured it was bullshit, like it all felt like fairy tales, like he was clearly embellishing it, but it sounded like a good idea for a movie. So we wrote a movie about it together. He's like, but when he found out I wasn't when Frank found out that people weren't believing him, he had this guy come in that was like, no, I fought in the Kumite with Frank. And everything he said is real. Every record he says he said it. And everything he did definitely fought. And they're like, really? This big underground illegal tournament where people died on the mat, Frank fought in it. And you watched him fight in it. And he's like, yep, definitely. And then Frank and that guy had a falling out like 2 years later. And that guy was like, yeah, actually, Frank paid me to say all that shit. Kumite is not real. He gave me a script. I didn't even know.
That makes me okay. So my favorite part of this movie is the fact that they filmed in Kowloon Walled City, which is crazy because it's this, and apparently I was reading the Wikipedia, and there's another movie called Crime Story, but Crime Story was filmed after they had abandoned it, before they destroyed it.
It's like just a big park now, I think.
Now it's the Kowloon. I just realized it's the Kowloon Walled City Park, and it's like, it's a park. It doesn't have a wall anymore.
Every time you hear that, when you say that, I just hear Cassandra go, I was born in Kowloon Bay.
Yeah, dude.
But Cambo, you learn to say I look pretty in Cantonese.
But I love the idea that this big, open, like luxurious by Chinese standards fucking room existed within Kowloon Walled City, because Kowloon Walled City, I got a whole thing that we'll go over towards the end of the episode, but like, that doesn't make any sense. And now I'm wondering if he actually was like, oh yeah, man, we had a Kumite at Kowloon Walled City, because who's gonna check?
Well, yeah, exactly. That, I mean, I think you had countless people back then when there was no internet saying shit like this. Like, I'm fucking like a 3rd degree black belt in whatever martial art, and I've won these tournaments. I'm a fucking badass. Or, stolen valor. Like, how many fucking people pretended to be vets and fought.
Do you know
in war,
how
and
many
they're
people would have
decorated.
claimed to be the guy who took out Bin Laden if the internet didn't exist?
Oh, dude, yeah.
When that
I would have been one of them for sure. Like, if that was like in the 70s, yeah.
Well, I totally killed Bin Laden, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You're just at a bar and they're like, "I'm sorry, your card's been declined." And you're like, "Can I tell you something?"
It's totally there.
Yeah.
You can't say
I mean, I'm under government like regulations. Says the contracts. I'm not supposed to tell people this.
Confidential to me.
But
and
you're
I feel
cool.
like you might
You're-
appreciate it.
But you're cool.
Cool, so I'm gonna let you in on a secret.
Look,
Give me back my
you're the
credit card, let me
coolest
tell you.
bartender. You're the coolest
Ever.
bartender that's ever
Ever.
bartended me.
But this one time.
I
So,
killed Bin Laden.
I took out Bin Laden. He was in the Kumite.
Oh my God, I want to see Osama Bin Laden in the Kumite.
Yeah.
So check this out. The film and Frank Dux story claims that the Kumite had 60 rounds.
Okay.
So this is a
Wait, now
big-
is that fight?
60 rounds, right?
Okay.
So says single elimination events have a have a particular pattern with regards to the number of rounds and number of participants required. Every time a round is added, the number of participants needs to be doubled. A 2-round tournament requires 4 contestants, a 3-round tournament 8, a 4-round tournament 16, and so forth. The simple mathematical formula for calculating the necessary number of participants is 2 to the power of the number of rounds. The number of human beings required for a 60-round tournament is millions of times as many humans as exist on Earth in the year 2022.
Wait, what? Okay, so, and I don't think you're going to be able to help me understand this anymore.
Yeah,
but
I'm
a
not
two round requires 4 people, but wouldn't that be?
I don't know.
Wouldn't there need to be a 3rd round between the two winners?
I think that's what they mean. Is the first round is
the 4
fights.
fighting,
Right.
fights,
And then the winners.
and then the second round is the winners of each of those fights.
It's just
Okay.
weird saying
Yeah, dude, that'd be
rounds.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that in
matches.
context of fighting is around like a
Yeah, usually there's like 3 rounds in a single
One
fight.
match.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Right.
it's does he mean 60 matches? But
No,
well, then
he
that would
means-
just be
he means
No, like
that-
rounds. Like think of a playoff tournament. Like
The first round
is
is
NHL
a million
playoffs.
people
You got
fighting
4
each other.
rounds.
The
He's saying
second
there's
round is-
60 rounds.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because March Madness is 4 rounds, and you
Yeah.
start with
Right.
fucking
So,
36.
so if it's
32
60
teams,
rounds,
yeah.
it's the first round is 1 million people. The second round is 500,000 people.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
third round is 250,000 people. And then you just keep going.
Right.
I mean, the math does work out.
Yeah. And that's why they're able to keep the Kumite a secret, is because everyone on Earth competed in it,
and also in the Kowloon Walled City.
and they don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Somehow we all traveled. We all traveled to that place and didn't know it.
Yeah.
Did you guys mention this, that he also claimed that he was a CIA operative?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he also claimed that he was a CIA operative and that he was undercover when he did all of this.
Well, in the movie, he's just like an army captain. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Says according to the records attained through the Freedom of Information Act, Dukes was in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve and was never posted overseas. The CIA has no record of him ever working with him.
But
And
hold
also,
on, hold
his-
on.
and
Why would
also-
they?
hold on.
Why would they? It's
Right.
CIA.
And he's not.
And his personal brand of martial arts is also a complete fabrication.
Okay, that I could believe.
Yeah. But then,
It's a fucking-
Well, then
this
what do
poses
I have a blue belt in?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
Duke's Ade.
right. But what's funny is like that then poses this question. So obviously Frank Dux, the real Frank Dux, was a complete and total fucking fake.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Fraud.
Frank Dux was
Jean
the
Fraud.
John Fraud Van Damme. Wow.
Nice,
Fucking
dude.
that
God.
was good. That was
Yeah,
good.
it is good.
But so Frank Dux was the fight coordinator on Bloodsport. And then when Van Damme was cast, Dux announced that Van Damme wasn't nearly in good enough shape
Shut the fuck
right?
up.
and put him through a 3-month training program. Van Damme, a world champion martial artist in his own right, called it the hardest training of his life. That then has to mean that this Frank Dux guy was like, holy shit, you're fucking ripped and you're jacked and you could do all these splits. I'm now intimidated. So I've got to just create all this random crazy shit for this poor guy to fucking do.
What's also funny, well, not funny, this is actually fucked, but it's also, it works out for the movie, is I wonder how much of that training program, as bullshit as it was, I'm sure, contributed to him being so fucking ripped.
Maybe.
That the end scene when he fucking does that arm flexing, it doesn't look like a normal movement for an arm.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Inhuman.
Yeah. But I think all this means that JCVD was abused.
Yes.
Yeah, it absolutely sounds
hardcore.
like he just tortured him.
Yeah.
He was like, no,
but you can't pack on a bunch of
tears,
muscle in
we've
3
gotta
months.
Tie you to trees and shit and pull you apart with.
I wonder how much of that was the training.
And he that's what I was gonna.
Yeah,
that's
just
what I was
dumb
thinking
shit
too.
like that that does nothing, just hurts you.
But dude, like the scene where he's tied to the tree, like all 4 limbs are tied to those trees, like the whole I'm gonna maintain eye contact with you while I break these trees with my legs.
That, you know what? I bet
hard.
that came directly from the Dux routine.
Oh yeah,
because he was just staring at him like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's next level.
Also, so the point,
best film ever made.
So
it's so good. It's so good.
It is.
I love the fact that it's less of a movie than Kickboxer. Like I love that it feels like you're watching a tournament. Like,
it does. That's
like,
so cool about it. Yeah,
it breaks off to those side plots. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
Let's get back to the fucking fighting.
I was watching it like literally like minutes.
I love Forest Whitaker, but we're right.
I was watching it, and I'd be watching it, and then like one of the side things would come on. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do some more Kowloon Walled City research while this happens. And then as soon as the fight goes back on, put my phone down, watch the fight, back to Kowloon Walled City.
Like
it's awesome.
It needs those emotional moments where dude, if I get hurt and you guys don't go do splits while overlooking Hong Kong while a love song plays, then I don't know if we're really friends.
Here's the plot twist.
I would for you guys.
Here's the plot twist. I'd be doing that if you weren't hurt.
Anywhere.
See, you just one-upped it.
Yeah. Here's the crazy thing. I would have done it 24 hours after meeting you. Just like in this movie.
That's how you know it's real.
Did you play the video game? You had to have played the video game with him, right?
I was like, what? Is there a Bloodsport video game I didn't know about?
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yes, I bet it's Mortal Kombat.
Honestly, somebody needs to put out a like 8 or 16, maybe 32-bit, maybe 16 because it'd be more fun. But bit fucking Bloodsport game on
now.
Just a browser-based game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see.
I just want to see 16-bit Bolo.
Well, Evil Dead just made an arcade, side scroll game. So did Halloween. Like those style games are coming back in multiple ways.
Oh
yeah, I wanted to play them. They look pretty cool. But like,
looks like there are some. Yeah, there are some. There's I don't know if it's just one or several, but Bloodsport, the video game. I don't know. I got to watch this. I'll do that after this podcast.
Wait, I'm starting to have a memory. I don't know can you see what system it was for?
No, I just see like it says Bloodsport, the video game. There's some 3-minute video on YouTube. It looks like some kind of trailer for it.
I think it's fake. I think somebody maybe put together their idea for a Bloodsport video game.
I
also see a 3-hour video that's Bloodsport, the RPG, Kumite engine.
See, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be a piece of shit. I would just go, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of people who make video games and we're just going to call JCVD up and we're going to make a Bloodsport game. And then it's going to be fucking great.
You don't Here's another be a billionaire for that. You could have a few million.
Well, dude, I do that. Well, yeah, probably. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of other video games he has to fund too.
Yeah, exactly. That's just one of a bunch. Here's a fun.
How's he gonna fund Bloodsport 2, 3, 4? Come on, man. You got to do a series.
You got to raise the billions. Here's another fun fact about Bloodsport that is the least surprising fact at all. Jackson does not use any recognized martial art at any point in this film.
No. Yeah.
You mean grab and headbutt or not martial arts?
Yeah, I feel like they just said, and be Macho Man Randy Savage, go.
Yeah.
And that was his thing.
Well, it's crazy because this movie is I wouldn't say single-handedly responsible, but close to that for spawning the actual sport of mixed martial arts and the UFC, which started in 93.
Which tells you that Kumites didn't actually exist.
Yeah. True. And when you watch those early UFCs, like you had guys, you had guys like Tank Abbott, who was just a fucking brute, which was like Jackson. Like he wasn't a martial artist; he was some drunk redneck that just fucking fucked people up. That guy was awesome.
See, that's how you could tell like the trajectory of the sport, because it started out with cool shit like that, and now it's just a bunch of ripped dudes punching each other.
Well, now it's just it's like every other sport where it's evolved, where it's so insanely skilled. That like
you have to have training.
Oh, yeah, and you have to have training in every aspect of the art. Like you can't have a deficit in one area or you're fucked. It started out as, let's see what the best martial art is.
Right?
Is it kickboxing? Is it wrestling? Is it then so you had guys that were just decorated in that one craft, and then they'd see who would win. And jiu-jitsu inevitably,
which is infinitely more like entertaining to me.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting. I think one of the most interesting things about when MMA first started is, and I got this from a podcast on fucking Steven Seagal, is that they were talking
on fucking podcast
all about Steven.
It's all about fucking Steven Seagal. It's brutal.
Is it called Creep-O-Rama in the next couple of months?
No, that's a podcast about fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jean-Claude Van Damme. The list goes on and on.
But just haven't made our way to Seagal yet.
It's called How Do You Say
It's going to be a brutal podcast. I'm going to be relentless. But in it, they were talking. One of the dudes who like follows MMA really heavily was explaining that like MMA proved that Tai Chi is bullshit. Because Tai Chi really existed, one of these dudes would have showed up at MMA and wrecked everybody, but it never happened.
Right.
So Tai Chi, the fighting art of Tai Chi,
not the 90-year-old guy meditating.
that stuff great. That's like yoga essentially, which is fine. Sure. But like acting like you could fucking flip a dude 8 feet without him like throwing himself is ridiculous. So that's my favorite part about MMA.
And same thing with like kung fu and shit. It's like like the idea that there's like people out there who would fuck up MMA fighters that are in the UFC, like professional fighters, but they're just like trained and like they're in the jungle getting stretched by ropes. It's like, nah,
that sounds fucking wrong.
It's not a thing. Yeah, but before '93, they could have been. And I killed Bin Laden. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I always forget about that.
I always forget about that.
I always forget all that time you did in the 80s killing Bin Laden.
All that time. Dude, in Bloodsport, that whole scene with the coin swap is so legendary.
Yeah, that was good.
That
was good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I love that it's not like, oh, he opens his hand and it's empty. He opens his hand and he changed the fucking coin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and like what a way to win over a girl too. Like he's just like
by speaking in front of her as though she doesn't exist. Being like, if I do this, I win you.
I'll win this woman in a bet. Excuse me? Trust me, it'll be very romantic in a moment. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna want to have sex with me later.
Yeah, we'll definitely hook it up.
Wow.
Still probably better than Kickboxer, where he's like, oh yeah, I'm here and your dad's gonna train me, and also I'm just gonna fall in love with you. Like,
and also the first thing he does is destroy your fucking store.
Yeah.
I just read with Kickboxer the training scene where the trainer guy ties a piece of meat to his leg. So he was chased by the dog. Van Damme put that in there because his real life karate teacher did that.
That's honestly amazing.
Nice. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because Frank Dux did that to him when training for Bloodsport. He's like, no, this is a thing I created.
Maybe that's it. Maybe all the shit that Dux did is in fucking Kickboxer, so he didn't get in trouble.
Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, lay on the ground while I throw coconuts at your stomach.
I mean, that does sound like something. Yeah. And Frank Dux is probably like behind, like he's like in his car in his hotel room. Like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah,
just coming up with
you're not tough enough for this. I need you to
this guy
slam
up
your
with
shin bone into this tree until it falls over.
Yeah, until you break your leg. Do it. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No. It's so hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
You know, that actually, I do wonder, because I've seen footage of like in Thailand where Muay Thai is massive, and like you have kids at a very young age training. And I've seen videos of kids kicking palm trees.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was taking place prior to Bloodsport, or did Bloodsport actually influence the sport or the martial art of Muay Thai?
Hilarious. I do think that it already existed, but fuck,
it had
funny.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they would admit to it. But like after the movie came out, leg injuries became a real issue across the country. Kids started kicking the shit at trees and
kicking shit stuff. That scene where Tong Po is kicking the pillar is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
They did it so good.
Although it's supposed to be like concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, I was like, he's kicking concrete pillars. But this time, I could see the cardboard and drywall moving at the top of the ceiling. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
But
Jean-Claude really sold it. And he's like, I saw him in there fucking kicking one of these things. So hard was coming down from the fucking ceiling.
To his heavyweight brother that weighs like 170.
Right. Yeah. Dude, his brother, oh man, honestly, deserved to have his ass kicked. Because he really went in there like, oh yeah, no problem.
He's
ego,
dickhead.
like mixing up the countries. And then I don't know why they had this scene, but they just cut to the hospital for a moment to show him assault a nurse, and everyone laughs. And then they cut back
dude.
to
What
the
the
rest
fuck
of the
was
movie.
that?
And I'm like, that didn't need to be in there.
That showed up, and I was like, okay, this is weird. What? They're just cutting away? There's not even a point?
Yeah.
It was
I think they're trying to show that, like, like he's back. You know, like he's
back. He's a
he's himself again.
See? She laughed it off. Everything's cute. I'm like, no, dude. Like, no. Stay paralyzed. Like, what is that?
Stay paralyzed.
Hashtag stay paralyzed.
Please, if you're in the hospital, don't fucking touch the nurse.
Yeah.
Stay paralyzed. Although that
stay paralyzed, homie.
That I also love the fact that in this movie you don't think that you would see a dude get a meat hook in his ass
in the ass
and lifted fucking 10 feet off the ground, but you do.
And then a good solid few minutes of just watching him like,
in the background.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
During a gunfight and explosions, which does feel very like not supposed to. It's out of place of these movies, movies.
But it's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's a good transition to later Van Damme flicks. And that's what he gets for injuring the dog, to be honest.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
You injure a dog, you get a meat hook up your ass, bro.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's on par.
Say the in Kickboxer, the shirtless makeout sesh in the garden while it thunders. It's pretty romantic.
Yeah,
fucking thundering.
Yeah,
and like they're making out, but Van Damme's body's facing the camera while he's making out.
Because he's got to show his entire torso how rich he is. He's like, I like to make out with you, but it gives me such a neck crick.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't fight. I made out with her again.
Yeah, but that's it's been a minute since I've gone back and watched movies from that era where it was like you had your standard formula for the dude, and it's like no matter what, no matter how dumb the storyline is, no matter how much it doesn't make sense, you have to force those fucking romantic sex scenes, dude. And it's just so.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do this movie and him not have sex?
I get it.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Like,
I think that would be better. You could get like 2 more matches in there.
Yeah, you could, especially Bloodsport.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
so Van Damme's just like out there not getting laid. Is it like, come on?
It does make you wonder who insisted that all of this be in the movie. Because I mean, I feel like Fred Savage and The Princess Bride, and he's like, they're kissing again. Get back to the action. But that was me watching these movies when I was 10. So I was like, fucking. Who's this girl? Fucking no. Why isn't he kicking somebody right now?
And you know what? Like, now that I stop and think about it, because that is when you think about that trope that was so heavy back in the 80s and 90s for dude action stars, but that wasn't in Rambo. That wasn't in
Terminator.
Predator.
Fuck, it is in Terminator.
Well, not in Arnold. I mean,
Arnold doesn't, but there is
but
completely unnecessary. Well, I guess it is kind of necessary.
That's not really unnecessary.
That one's necessary.
Literally the plot of the entire franchise.
I will say though, in the second one,
they do move kind of fast.
In the unedited version or the uncut version of the second one, there's a sex scene, an imaginary sex scene between Kyle and her, and that was not necessary, and they cut it. And
exactly. Right. But yeah, like, I guess that in my head, I always just expected more action stars but that didn't really happen in Bruce Willis movies.
There's no sex scene in Bloodsport. It just cuts right to them waking up in bed.
Yeah, but
I think that the scene isn't the problem. The storyline is.
Right.
Just the fact that
the fact that he gives a fuck about any women when he's trying to fight the Kumite.
Right. Or seek revenge in kickboxing.
And also how quickly it went from I can't fight you for her because we'll get kicked out of the tournament, but I'll bet you for her. I'll win her in this little coin challenge.
Yeah.
And
then we're gonna fall in love, we're gonna fuck, we're gonna be head over heels for approximately 3 days, and then I'm going to leave, and then we're going to do this silly, like, moment at the end, and then we're going to part ways, never to see each other again.
Yeah, I would have preferred it if it was
romance, dude.
Why is he bowing to this reporter?
How much better would it have been? We skipped the whole hospital scene. We put that on the runway. Jackson's in a wheelchair. They still have the scene, and then as he gets on the fucking plane, he looks back and he's like, and they both do it. Credits.
Yeah. Somebody still should have been like, what the fuck are you guys doing this for?
Yeah.
Like, you're
Forest Whitaker says it, and then JCVD just looks at him and goes, Kumite, and then walks into the plane.
Credits. And then at the end of Kickboxer, like the whole, like he's fallen in love with this girl, and like, he's rescued, blah, 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 blah. And then which, side note, I love 80s movies where fight's done, credits. Like, we're not wasting any fucking time.
So abrupt. They're like, we're not going to watch
with the
return
movie.
home. We're not going to watch the repercussions.
Bloodsport's the first one of these movies that actually has a follow-up ending.
Has kind of an ending. But this one, our Kickboxer, and a lot of movies back then was like, no, we don't care. We've
much
made
all
our
of these JCVD movies have been like that.
Yeah, we've made our point. Credits.
Good guy won.
But if you watch the celebration, he's hugging everybody else. I think he kisses or hugs the dog before he hugs her. And they just spend the whole movie building up this romance between the two. And she like saves him, and he like falls in love with her. And like she's like a complete total afterthought at the end.
Yeah, but the dog got hurt.
Well, I know. So did she.
Yeah. Did she?
Yeah.
As bad as a dog?
Yeah.
I completely blocked that out of my memory.
Yeah, it does kind of.
I completely was like, I'm just not even going to register that.
Mm-hmm. That was a big part of the movie.
No, I know. But in my head, it was just her being taken. I forgot that they actually
right, because they don't show it.
Explains it.
Yeah,
well, she says it, and she's like, he raped me, but I didn't tell him that because he needs to be focused on the tournament.
Yeah, and then
I feel like that could fuel him. Maybe you should tell him that.
Yeah, he finds out in a key point, in a plot point in the fight, and that's what gives him his second wind.
Yeah,
right.
That and his brother coming back, which
yeah, it does make that movie a lot darker than
it does.
Bloodsport.
Man, I feel like a real asshole for hugging the dog now.
Yeah, I mean, the dog did get stabbed, but
we're not. It was just let's just go. Let's move on. Let's move on.
yeah, it lived. It lived.
Are we all on the same page with liking Bloodsport more, or are we split on that?
Dude,
I think I like Kickboxer more.
I had a lot of fun with I had a lot of fun with Bloodsport. I always have fun with Bloodsport.
They're both.
But I think it's one of those double features where you just everybody's gonna love Bloodsport.
Yeah,
it's just like it's just like an automatic like of course it's fucking Bloodsport. But then you watch Kickboxer and you're kind of surprised by how good Kickboxer is. So it kind of it's like, oh whoa, this is actually like a really good fun movie.
I think
it's dark.
These two specifically are equal. Because it's you're getting. I felt like I got the same amount of satisfaction from both of them, which is a huge thing for me in watching movies. Like if I'm not satisfied by the end, I'm like, fuck this. But like they both of them hit a lot of the same points in completely different ways. Well, not completely different ways, but like with a different vibe. Yeah. And they both, if you think of it as the same universe, almost like you could kind of be like, it's the same guy.
Yeah,
and like
who's been through some shit.
Yeah, what you don't get from this one, you get from this one, and what you don't get from this one, you get from the other one.
Right.
I really think it's the perfect double feature, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think I really realized or cared to remember over the last 25, 30 years of how international all of Van Damme's movies are. Like he just shot all over the fucking planet.
Yeah, he barely shot any of these in America.
Right. All over the place.
They said this was the first American movie I think filmed where it was in Hong Kong.
Oh wow!
And then yes, and then they said Kickboxer was the one that like made Muay Thai a big deal, like introduced it to the United States.
It's where I learned about Muay Thai. As a kid, I didn't know what the fuck Muay Thai was because why would I? I'm 8. And then I saw that and I was like, oh, Muay Thai kicks ass.
You stopped doing your Frank Dux training and shifted your focus to Muay Thai.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You stopped beating yourself up with coconuts.
Yeah.
No. Same movie. Those are the same movie.
Yeah, Kickboxer.
Yeah.
You said stop.
That's
you
right.
Said stop coconuts. I'm not stopping coconuts. I'm getting
continuing. He's continuing the coconut.
You stopped punching stacks of bricks, making sure to only make one of them explode instead of
explode.
That's like that's some Jedi shit.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I wonder how you did that.
To this day, they still don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. They just don't know.
That's not even a special effect. He did that shit on set.
Yeah. Dude, I'd believe it.
Okay, you guys got to get in tight in slow motion for this one. I'm gonna do it for sure.
When he had the guy pick a brick, and they're like, "No, the bottom one." All right.
I like the guys.
At that point, I would have been like, "Could you have just done like the second? Like, can you zero in?"
I think that's
do the
more
middle
impressive.
one now because that would
the
be
middle one.
Yeah.
I like that Lynn's like, do the top one, and he's like, all right, cool. And he's like, what is that? Come on.
Yeah.
Anyone in the room can do the top one,
right? Although, what did the two kind of entry guys where they were like, we're not going to admit you into this tournament unless if you know how to do the thing. Do you guys remember what that was called?
The touch of death.
Yeah, the touch of death. Well, that doesn't going and breaking a brick doesn't really sound like the equivalent to something like if you said do the touch of death, James, I wouldn't expect you to go break a brick.
Okay, but hold on, pushback. The point isn't that he could break a brick. The point is that he shows
could touch one.
No. It shows
causes the death of another brick.
He could punch you in the chest, and it would go through all the shit and blow your heart up. And then think about Bolo. That's a brickload of chest.
Yeah.
He
doesn't do that though. Well, yeah. Yeah. I'm bricked up right now, dude.
But are you bricked up for Bolo or are you bricked up for Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Both. This whole
that's a double break.
Double.
There's so many shots. There's so many shots of Bolo Yeung where like he should be screaming, but he's not.
Not at all.
Like shaking his fist. And, like, it looks
totally
like
off time too.
When the celebration when he jumps up and he's doing this does not feel Bolo at all.
No,
he's just like, yay, I'm Bolo.
Well, it's like they didn't like his voice. They're like, let's just take that out. Like they just didn't want his voice because it's definitely not his voice when he says "you're next." Like that's not him.
Oh,
really?
I can't be. No way.
I thought that was him. It does. The ADR does look really bad in that scene.
True.
God,
so
but I
what
thought
does Bolo sound like? Is he like squeaky?
I think that was
I don't
him.
know. I don't know.
I'm Bolo Yeung.
I think that was him whenever he said brick don't punch back or something like that. I think that was him because I mean
it's all ADR. It could have been. It just sounds off.
Maybe. Or maybe he did the ADR later. Because they took that from one of Bruce Lee's lines in Enter the Dragon. Where he said I think it was boards don't hit back or something like that.
Right. Yes. So the first dude that Bolo fights, that's supposed to be Bruce Lee, right?
I mean, it's probably a throwback.
He looks and kind of like moves like he's supposed to.
Really?
Be Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Because he does that like that weird like long arm thing that Bruce Lee used to do.
Yeah.
And also I think he's wearing black and gold.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Tong Po. I was trying to figure out who the actor was that played Tong Po. It was Michel Qissi, who played Tong Po in Kickboxer and Kickboxer 2.
Oh, we gotta watch Kickboxer 2. Kickboxer 2, there's no way it's got JCVD, right?
No. Kickboxer Vengeance in 2016 also has Tong Po in it.
Oh wow!
In that one, he's played by Dave Bautista.
No, really?
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, that's got to be a remake, right?
Wait,
yeah.
say that?
No, I don't think it's a remake.
No,
but it's the same character.
He was portrayed by Michel Qissi in the first two films, Camel Krifa in Kickboxer 4, and Dave Bautista in Kickboxer Vengeance.
What year was Vengeance?
2016.
Oh, okay. That wasn't that. He was already out of WWE by then.
That's crazy.
I like Batista, but man, he's not Tong Po.
No.
Yeah, in Kickboxer 2, it is learned that while consumed with humiliation and rage, Tong Po had gunned down Kurt, Eric, and Miley in revenge when they were about to return to America for losing his honor and humiliation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a story.
Jesus.
That's a dark turn.
Yeah, bro.
So they're like, we can't get these actors back, so we're just going to open with you murdered them all?
You beat me in a fight, so I shot all your people.
Which, I mean, the whole arena setup of the, fight in Kickboxer is like, you feel like this is underground organized crime level, like shit. So that tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a really good story. Sad.
It's still
fucked up.
Sad story.
Super sad. Wouldn't have happened.
Super sad that all these imaginary characters.
Right? Those bullets would have just bounced off of JCVD's giant thighs. Going back to Bolo, though, I just read that in the 1960s he swam. Says he swam from China to Hong Kong to escape communism.
Whoa,
that's crazy.
Oh shit!
How far?
But China, I mean, Hong Kong is.
I was going to say Hong Kong.
That's why I was like, that's maybe the person.
I think Hong Kong.
It's like, I would hope he swam from China.
Yeah. He swam from the United States to New York City.
Right. Exactly. Maybe you went to maybe it meant to say from Hong Kong to Japan.
The distance between China and Hong Kong varies depending on the specific location within China, but generally the shortest flight distance is 752 miles.
Yeah, he didn't swim that.
No.
Yeah. This goes back to what we were saying of dudes lying about shit before the internet.
Kickboxer. Back to Kickboxer Vengeance, it is a remake. So David Bautista Tong Po in the remake. Yeah.
Okay. Hong Kong to Guangzhou by air is 74 miles. Hong Kong to Guangzhou driving is 92 miles. So I mean, maybe if he did it for like a short part.
Maybe.
it's still badass.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, his wiki doesn't say anything, so maybe that person on IMDb is full of shit.
Sounds like it. I am not saying that Tong Po is full of shit.
No, of course not.
I would never, because he could kill us like he did in that one movie.
Dude, he still looks intimidating at 78 years old.
Dude, yeah. Honestly, that is who should have played fucking Sagat.
Yeah.
Just put a fucking giant scar on his chest. Sagat.
Right?
Yeah.
Ooh, Bolo Yeung?
No. The guy who played Tong Po.
No, Tong.
Yeah, that would have made sense. I was gonna say Bolo Yeung. That would have been a weird Sagat.
Bolo in the Street Fighter movie would have been fun though too. Who would he played? Because he's not. I mean, he looks kind of like
he could have been fucking Blanca.
I was just about to say that.
Oh my god, he could have been.
He should have just been Blanca.
Yeah. Fuck. That would have fixed it. That would
instead of just painting some random guy green,
some random white guy who's not even like
starved him for 6 fucking months before they fucking started shooting.
He thought he was gonna film The Machinist after Street Fighter,
right?
Yeah.
So, are we ready for the educational part of the program?
Yes, let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I still need to be educated about Hong Kong and China. Hong Kong is
one's
part of China, right?
Yeah, Hong Kong is in China. Yes. So Hong Kong is a part of the country or continent of China. Forgive me, I'm not a geographicist.
Yeah.
But Hong Kong, I think, is sovereign from the rest of China because the rest of China is communist, and I don't think Hong Kong is China or is communist. I might be wrong on that. I know that there's some weird there's an area, I think it's Hong Kong, that Hong Kong is like exempt from the rest of the China.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds so
Hong
weird
Kong
to me,
is
but
a
I'm not
special
Hold on.
administrative region of China.
Yeah, so hold on, because this is gonna get even weirder when I talk about Kowloon, because holy shit. So in Bloodsport,
I was born in Kowloon Bay.
You good? Okay. So in Bloodsport, Mr. Lin, after he's yelling about the Kumite in public, he takes them. I forgot exactly what he said. He's going to show them around Hong Kong, and then just immediately takes them to the Kumite.
Yeah.
But those dingy, fucked-looking hallways and the building that they walk into, and then supposedly where the Kumite is held, which doesn't make any sense. There's no space for it in Kowloon Walled City. So all that was actually filmed in Kowloon Walled City while it was still a thing. I've been obsessed with Kowloon Walled City since I was very young for some reason. Maybe because of this movie, I don't know. But so in 1842, or the original buildings were built in the Song Dynasty as a way to manage the salt trade. In 1842, they ceded it to Britain. 1847, the main wall was built to protect from further British influence. Then there's a bunch of back and forth between China and Britain. 1912, the King Dynasty, King with a Q, dynasty ends. British have control, but don't really do anything with it. Stuff starts taking residence, a church, a school, an old people's home. 1933, Hong Kong wants to demolish it. Nationalist Chinese government starts making claims, which carries it to World War II. The Japanese forces destroy one wall in order to use the stone to extend the nearby airport. There's more back and forth between China and Japan, and I'm assuming Britain in some way. 1948, by now there's 2,000 squatters, and the British are annoyed, so they attempt to push them out. It doesn't work, so then they just go fully hands off. They're like, fuck it, we're not being involved with it anymore. And then there's more British being British, more back and forth. In January,
as
they fucking do. Anything that can be colonized, they're gonna try.
Yeah.
In January 1950, a fire broke out that destroyed over 2,500 huts, home to nearly 3,500 families, and 17,000 total people. So we've now jumped from 2,000 to 17,000 people living in this area.
Damn.
The ruins after the fire gave them a chance to rebuild back better, which many people believe was a calculated move so they could build just new shit.
And and make the Kumite.
And make the Kumite. I'm assuming that they had to just that had to be built in.
That was their cover.
Yeah,
that was the cover.
Yeah. 17,000 people. We're just going to fit this giant, open, unused room.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
At this point, the British and Chinese governments are essentially just completely ignoring Kowloon. The triads take over, gaining a stranglehold on the walled city's numerous brothels, gambling parlors, and opium dens. Cops refuse to go in unless in large groups. It isn't until 1979 that the triads' influence finally starts to break. But at the same time, massive construction has been taking place. With developers building new modular structures above older ones, the city became extremely densely populated and a world unto its own. An enclave with over 33,000 people in 300 buildings occupying little more than 7 acres. As a result, the city reached its maximum size by the late 1970s and early 1980s. A height restriction of 13 to 14 stories had been imposed on the city due to the flight path of planes heading towards Kai Tak Airport, which is the one that they built with the wall.
Yeah.
As well as limiting building height, the proximity of the airport subjected residents to serious noise pollution, as you can fucking imagine. I used to live next to a private airport. It sucks. 8 municipal pipes. Serious noise pollution. 8 municipal pipes provided water to the entire structure, although more could have come from wells. A few of the streets were illuminated by fluorescent lights, as sunlight rarely reached the lower levels due to the outstanding disregard to air rights within the city.
That's crazy.
Although the rampant crime of earlier decades diminished in later years, the walled city was still known for its high number of unlicensed doctors and dentists who could operate there without threat of prosecution. 1987, all governments involved reached agreement that the city be demolished. They compensate the 33,000 residents with Hong Kong $2.7 billion or US $350 million. Demolition concluded in 1994, and now in its place is Kowloon City Walled Park, or Kowloon Walled City Park.
That's crazy.
Dude. It's honestly, me talking about it really doesn't do it justice. Like anyone listening to this, go look up pictures of Kowloon Walled City.
It looks nuts.
It's one of the coolest. Like, yeah, there was crime and there was fucked up shit, but also it wasn't the residents doing it. It was the triads that didn't live there. They just controlled it using because there were no laws there. It's a completely lawless zone. It was completely like you could do anything. The cops wouldn't even go in. So it was the triads using that to get away with shit.
Well, they weren't going in because of the triads, right? I don't think it's
probably
chicken or the egg there.
Yeah.
But also like, there was so much, like a ton of bootleg stuff would come out of there. There was a lot of businesses and like factories and shit in Kowloon factories, as in like 3 rooms that are turned into a factory. That like they were able to do and put out a lot cheaper goods because there's no restrictions, there's no regulations. But I don't know. It's just such a fascinating like.
It is, I didn't know much about it until rewatching this movie and then just watching a couple of YouTube videos that was actually covering that area. They're like, I don't know if it's. You said there was another movie that was shot there.
Yeah, it's crime. I'll have to look it up. It's a
Crime Story.
So I think it's only
Crime Story. Yeah, Crime Story.
So it's only 2 movies that were shot.
There may have been one other one that was that had a little bit of footage while it was around, but it wasn't like enough.
Right.
Well, Crime Story is Jackie Chan, and it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put that in our fucking Jackie Chan watch.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah.
Is Crime Story unrelated to Police Story?
Probably, dude.
Yeah, Police Story.
In Police Story, he's a police.
Police Story
in
was
Crime Story, he's a crime.
Police Story 3 was 1992. Crime Story was 1993.
93.
So he just turned from being a police to a crime.
Yeah.
Those Police Stories.
It was also alternate title. Yeah, not to be confused with New Police Story, which is what other people have called it. But New Police Story is a 2004 Hong Kong action thriller with Jackie Chan.
Okay.
Crime Story is a mostly serious film, unlike other Jackie Chan films that feature a combination of action and comedy. This one is based on actual events surrounding the 1990 kidnapping of Chinese businessman Teddy Wang.
So wait, you're telling me
look
that,
at that
most of them? We'll just look at that. So most of the Jackie Chan movies are comedic. You mean people don't usually get run over by hovercraft?
No.
Shame.
That's crazy.
But yeah, the climactic scene in which a building is decimated by explosions was filmed in the deserted Kowloon Walled City, which was scheduled for demolition shortly thereafter.
Oh wow!
Wait,
that's
so
crazy.
did they blow up parts of it
In the movie?
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, not historically. I feel like that sucks. But like, as far as making a movie, and
we're gonna blow up this place anyway. You might as well. Like,
capture it on film.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I would not ever want to set off an explosion in Kowloon Walled City and sit there to record it. The structural integrity of that place could not have been high.
No.
Fair.
So let's go over the numbers for these two movies.
Kickboxer, you got a 36% tomato meter and a 65% audience score.
Okay. See, that's exactly what I. But it's doubled.
Critics.
Yeah, audience doubled it.
Yeah.
I think Bloodsport's actually lower.
Yeah, no, that's a little higher. It's 48% tomato meter, 74% audience score.
Okay,
there we go.
So yeah, we finally found the JCVD movies that everybody fucking likes.
But also,
losers,
except the critics.
It's weird to me that Bloodsport had a higher critic score than Kickboxer.
Yeah. Bloodsport had a 48.
Why do you think that
34.
is?
Because all the critics had already seen Bloodsport. They were like, really need another one of these?
Yeah, true. That's probably
which. Yeah, you do.
I think it is the whole tournament aspect of Bloodsport that just makes it so appealing. Like it does feel like you're watching a tournament, like an actual tournament take place. You see so many fights,
and he's blinded.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I'm so upset.
Really,
I'm so upset that he didn't take his fucking sash and wrap it around his head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
And then nobody in the audience noticed.
Yeah, the white powdery cloud.
Yeah.
That's where I was confused. I was like, is that cheating? Because
I don't think that
this is also a secret tournament where people die. Yeah. So
right. Also,
but you're not allowed weapons or like.
Well, also like this is the first time I've watched Bloodsport where that scene happens and then it keeps showing his point of view. Motherfucker wasn't blind.
Yeah,
he was blurry.
Yeah,
you know, he was blurry. You can
only
still
reason he
see
was
a
blind
giant Bolo Yeung coming at you.
The only reason in this movie why JCVD is blind is because the camera never turns to Bolo.
Yeah. But it just needed that epic scene of him rubbing his eyes and just screaming into the void.
So good.
Yeah. So
I mean, he kind of does. He's got the.
Yeah, exactly. Which,
so
for dramatic effect. So, but yeah.
They're both pretty high in Letterboxd. You got 3.2 for Kickboxer, 3.4 for Bloodsport.
Yeah, they're the pinnacle of this dude's career.
They really are.
Kind of, I know we've said it multiple times throughout this whole thing. Like, I can kind of understand like what that must have been like as a young actor exploding. And that's what you start with. And then it's like, okay, I got to keep trying to get it. And then you do Lionheart.
That really feels like what happened is like, he was not
strong. He's not enough strong to make different plot movies.
To make different.
What if we do Bloodsport, but this time he fights bums?
Yeah.
What if we do Bloodsport, but this time you're going to go into a jail? A secret jail.
It's Bloodsport, but instead of defending your friend, you're defending your brother. So Kickboxer, no, your brother's already dead.
And he's like, exactly
you're in street. Oh,
right.
Instead, it's Bloodsport, but
Street Fighter.
But instead of Bloodsport, it's Dennis Rodman.
I fucking quit.
Yeah,
you can't. You're JCVD. Fuck, you're right.
I wonder, is Kickboxer the first movie? Or, I mean, is this just like a thing that people knew about when they're like, oh, you will fight the old ways with your hands bound in rope and resin dipped in broken glass? And like, how is that the old ways? Like, how long has glass been a thing where they were like, yeah, the ancient fighters many moons ago would break glass and just like dip their sticky hands in it before fighting. Like,
and also, they didn't really utilize it that much.
No, it was just the one thing.
Yeah.
Also, Josh, you're going to be the only one that actually knows what I'm talking about. But I watched fucking Kickboxer, and then me and Keith went to go see Novocaine. Yeah. And it's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But there's a fucking shot where Jack Quaid is like fucking pounding the fucking ground and gets fucking glass in his knuckles. And I was like, fuck yeah, Kickboxer! Also, Novocaine fucking rules.
Yeah, that movie was fun as hell.
God, that was good.
I'm stoked to see that.
Yeah,
it looked good.
So
that
good.
Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid. He's really
crushing
doing
it. He's crushing it. He's just absolutely fucking crushing it. The dude has such range of. He's really finding that groove of being like a dorky white guy, but then taking that archetype and really turning it on its head.
Yeah. Josh, what's the chick's name? I can't remember it.
Amber Midthunder?
Amber Midthunder, yeah. She's fucking great too.
Yeah.
Like
that's an awesome name.
She's gonna be
Midthunder.
She's the
she's indigenous.
She's
the girl from Prey.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And she's also in Opus, which we saw recently. Ooh. She's not in it as much, but she's still great in it.
I just want to say, because I know that most people are going to really undervalue her role in Novocaine, she fucking kills it.
Yeah.
The chemistry that those two have, despite everything that happens in that fucking movie, it's one of the best I've seen on film in a long time.
Yeah. She's dope. And then Ray Nicholson plays one of the bad guys.
Yeah, totally.
Really funny, because I'm like, Jack Quaid versus Ray Nicholson. All right.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was Jack Nicholson's kid.
Really? Did you not see his face?
Oh, I saw it, but I was like, he looked familiar, but it didn't. Until after I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, now I get it.
He had a weird haircut. Like, it was, Kimmy pointed out, she's like, is that the kind of fade you're thinking of getting? And I was like, maybe. She was like, it doesn't work on his head shape. She's like, it would look better on you. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little better. But yeah,
do it.
Go in and ask for the Ray Nicholson.
Yeah, they're totally gonna know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you saw Novocaine, right? No, dude. What?
Novocaine?
Isn't that a picture of Ryan Reynolds or something?
Real quick before we wrap this up, just to answer your question, Derek, because I know you, like me, were going, isn't Hong Kong in China? He did. He had to escape mainland China, and he swam 4 kilometers through multiple various like bays into Hong Kong.
How many miles?
4 kilometers.
Like two and a half.
That's okay. That's not.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do
that's still crazy, but it's not as crazy as I thought it was.
But yeah, they're Hong Kong.
What's Alcatraz? How long is that swim? That's like
I don't know,
a couple miles, I think.
I did it to the dock.
Depends. Are you going with the tide or not?
It's 1.5. It's 1.5 miles.
Okay,
2.4 kilometers. So I know there's
so Bolo. So wait, was it Bolo or Tong Po?
Bolo.
Okay, Bolo swam further than Alcatraz to escape communism. That's badass.
Yeah. And then apparently, as a kid, he developed a keen interest in chops, kicks, and beating up pedestrians.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You had me until you had me in the first half.
That's what I'm reading.
Pedestrians?
Yeah, right. as a fucking.
So
kid.
he's Mark Wahlberg.
He's a good thing.
As a fucking
said,
kid,
do not cross. Get the fuck out of the street.
It's just Bolo in a fucking neon yellow vest. Like, no!
10-year-old Bolo, too. Just beating up people on the streets.
So he was an asshole kid, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, dude.
He was one of us. He just didn't have a tree to kick.
Yeah, he was also jacked at 10 years old. So, that's kind of, I guess that's what you do.
Is him swimming to Hong Kong why his chest is so big?
Might be. It was very formative.
It's just a formative moment in my life. It made my chest huge.
Yeah. What have we become?
The furthest anyone has swam nonstop
Is Bolo from Hong Kong from China to Hong Kong.
No,
That'd be some shit.
This is putting that to shame because I saw I remember I forget her name and it might be the same person, but I remember several years back there was a woman that swam from Cuba to Key West, which is like 90 miles or something.
That's crazy.
And there's others that I don't know how many other people have done that swim and various other swims like it, but this one is the furthest anyone has swam nonstop, unassisted, without a wetsuit in current neutral conditions.
Was Frank Dux, who says
Frank Dux. And,
I swam 3,000 miles.
Says he swam 3,000 miles around.
Swam around the planet.
The Horn.
A couple times.
Of South America. Yeah. It's like I swam from LA to Miami, going around South America.
Yeah.
Quick stop in Antarctica.
Yeah. And then swam through solid ground just through the United States.
You ever seen DuckTales? You know how Scrooge McDuck swims in his gold? Frank Dux. Yeah. Frank Dux did it first.
Yeah, that's part of my training in my martial arts is you have to swim through gravel.
Yeah.
Sorry, Derek.
I just always loved.
I
always loved those Chuck Norris jokes. And that was always one that Chuck Norris swims through solid ground.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one. Okay, so it's 104.6 miles.
Damn,
in Lake Champlain, achieved by Sarah Thomas in 2017.
That's wild.
100 miles.
109. Where's that lake?
I gotta be honest.
But then here's other ones. This is weird. Ross Edgley completed a 317-mile nonstop swim in the Yukon River in Canada without stopping, sleeping, or touching land.
Jesus.
But I'm assuming that's
a river.
I was going to say, was he swimming or did the river just carry him 300?
Right.
Look at me go. I'm hauling ass, you guys. I'm like, cover so fast.
I feel like 104 miles in a lake is not as impressive as 90 miles from Cuba to fucking Key West. Because that's
I think that's what it was.
Dangerous fucking
because you're dodging
shark infested.
Sharks.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, I think I could do that if there wasn't sharks.
Don't quote me on that. I because I remember there was a documentary on her. I don't remember all the specifics, but
wait,
if she finished it or the Cuba
5 miles into it.
I don't remember.
Jesus.
Specifics.
Oh, you'll probably drown 5
Oh
miles.
Yeah, totally.
But I also wonder.
Yeah, but then your body will just float with the current, so you'll get there even quicker.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
because the average
win later
human being
you just can run Miami with a little
walks
flag,
like
I did it
2 miles an hour or something, and then if you're in decent shape, you can do a 10-minute mile, which is 6 miles an hour.
Dude, you could say that an average person walks 5 miles an hour.
Can you swim though? So I'm like, if you're going 100 miles an hour and you're swimming at the same speed that you average, like 2 to 3 miles per hour, that's just swimming for how many fucking hours?
Well, so the record, which is 104 miles, took 67 hours.
60. That's 3 days straight.
Yeah.
That's what?
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
No,
fuck that.
No, yeah.
No.
Why? Yeah,
don't do that. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a bad. I mean, you did it, so great, but
go
don't
to
do
the
that.
jungles of
I do wonder
Thailand
what you get out of that, though. Besides having some
that's one of those
talk
ones,
about you on a podcast a few years later.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where I look at it and I'm like, all right, you've done it. Nobody else needs to attempt anything even close to that. You're good.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there right now that's training, planning to beat it though.
Doing a fucking montage like in Bloodsport.
Yeah,
wasting their fucking life.
Yeah.
They could be making out with random village girls and destroying their shops, but nope, they're training to go swim.
They're in the ocean, weighing themselves down with coconuts and bricks.
Yeah, I'm getting abused.
They could be fighting Tong Po.
Yeah,
they could be fighting Tong Po.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's nuts. So yeah, the longest. So that swim that I'm talking about, the 104 miles. That's the longest open water swim, distance and duration. You have the longest ocean swim. Distance and duration is 80.6 miles for 60 hours and 55 minutes.
Damn, so it's about the same, and they don't even like make it as far. That's gotta be because of the waves and shit.
What are we doing?
Well, it's 7
What are we
hours.
doing?
Yeah.
We're not swimming.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Bolo Yeung.
This podcast is swerving dangerously into sports territory.
Yeah. It's like I tuned in to hear you guys talk about two of the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movies ever, and I learned way too much about Hong Kong.
Too much.
Way too much about this walled city that James loves. Way too much about swimming world records.
Derek's just not impressed by Bolo Yeung, just looking for people who just did way more swimming than him.
You get Derek hears a knock on the door. Knock, knock, knock. He opens it. It's fucking Bolo.
Like, oh, we swam 2 miles to escape communism. That's cool, dude. Check this out. This fucking guy.
This girl in a lake 7 years ago.
And then Derek
he did it when he was 6.
Punched off.
16 too.
Nah, look, it's impressive. It's definitely impressive.
Yeah.
Anybody swimming is impressive.
Anybody swimming.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Oh,
You're
man.
buoyant and you can move your arms and legs. Crazy.
Yeah.
I cramp up, climb out of a hot tub. I can't even.
Well, he had all that practice beating up pedestrians. So, he's trained for it.
The main way that I trained for swimming is I beat up pedestrians.
There's a
it's such a funny. It's such a funny choice of words. Like, could you say just beating up people? Like, just,
I know. It's strangers.
I didn't say it. I just read some
if
silly
you drove
article.
by Bolo, you were fine. You were safe in your vehicle. But God forbid you try to get some fresh air.
You know what?
I guess
he was working up. He was working up the vehicles.
It feels like it paints a picture like he was in the car and he was jumping out of the car to beat up people that were walking.
It's like when you're a teenager with the baseball bat and the mailboxes, except it's Bolo, his fist, and a pedestrian.
Just hanging out the window.
Yeah, that article was on gymtalk.com. So
reputable news source.
It's accurate.
All the best journalists work at Jim Talk.
Yeah. There's another article that's just called "Badass Asians." Bolo Yeung.
He belongs up there.
God, I hope Jim Talk is just solely dedicated to Bolo.
That'd be dope.
It's just all of their articles for however long.
Is Badass Asians like a listicle?
Yeah,
somebody thought about that. It was like, we should make a list of all the coolest Asians. I don't know, man. Seems problematic. No, that's.
Well, I mean, he was only 14 when he made that swim.
Oh, I thought you said he was only 14 on the list.
No, he was only 14 in Bloodsport. Can you believe that?
He's 14 years old in Bloodsport.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
Bro, if he's only 14 in Bloodsport, we need to leave.
He wasn't even
run
born when he was in Enter the Dragon. That's how crazy this fucking guy is.
People just looked older back then.
People just looked older. Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
It was the Middle Ages.
No.
Life expectancy was a lot smaller.
Oh, shit.
God. Oh, man.
Should I look up any other swimming records?
Yes.
No.
Any more brain busters?
Dude, that's a horrible tattoo of Bolo.
Somebody has a tattoo.
It doesn't even look like him. Doesn't even look like him.
Nailed the from the neck down.
Yeah, from the neck down. But like, if I had,
they got them titties right.
Yeah.
That one doesn't look like him either. Oh man,
Justin, you're gonna have to get a sick Bolo tattoo.
Yeah,
dude, I'd do it.
It's quite a rabbit hole you've gone down now, just looking at tattoos.
Yeah, and then in the midst of all these images of Bolo Yeung, here's a young JCVD in a hot tub.
I was hoping you were gonna be like, in the midst of all these pictures of Bolo Yeung, here's a young Bolo. This is like a Bolo now.
Here's another, this this picture is a shot from whenever he gets kicked in the face in their fight. What the fuck was up that trope in the 80s? It was maybe in the 70s too, where like the guy realizes or he finds out like, oh, I'm bleeding. You made me bleed my own blood, and I've got to check it, and then I've got to taste it.
Yeah.
And then I got
to make sure it's my blood.
To make sure it's my
I know
blood.
I know the difference in flavor between my blood and someone else's blood.
What makes it
or
different?
just making sure it's blood. Like,
right.
Did
Did you
in the audience just throw mild sauce on me?
Strawberry syrup on my face.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't I'm bleeding in my mouth, which means I can taste the blood, but I gotta taste it off of my fingers to make sure that it's my blood.
Mm-hmm.
I think they think it looks intimidating.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like animalistic.
Yeah.
But it is dumb that it's already in your mouth.
Yeah, it's in your mouth.
Yeah, like I get like if it's their blood, like now you look like a psychopath, like you're fucking eating, or if it's blood from elsewhere, and you're like, just fucking
lick your forearm.
Well, that's like in Kickboxer when Tong Po was like, he fucking puts the glass on his hands and then he licks the glass. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
You're not.
He's got a big chunk of glass on his tongue. I was watching that. And I'm like, okay, so we just wait. For that to perforate his intestines, and then we win.
Game over.
The rest of the movie's just fucking JCVD running around trying to run the clock out for when it fucking slices an intestines.
Yeah. Either that or just standing there and being like, wait for it. And then he's going to be like, fuck, that was a bad idea. Now all my pain receptors in my mouth are kicking in all at once. And now I'm in agony, and then it's like, well, yeah, also, dude, you shouldn't have licked glass. You dumb motherfucker. You licked
glass. Wouldn't he have like problems breathing now because there's blood like going through
his mouth? Like, he's probably he needs stitches on his tongue, like stat. And
no, I don't think you stitch your tongue like that. Tongue heals like crazy.
Tongues heal pretty quick. I think there's a clip of Steve cutting his tongue open.
I mean, unless you like splitting it in two.
Well, but here's the thing: as somebody who's been around a lot of body modification, split tongues heal quick.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
They still tend to stitch them. I think just depending on how you're.
A little bit, but
yeah, but they heal up pretty quick.
Either way, fight's not happening. That fight's not happening.
No, because I just know whatever happened to his tongue, it was irrelevant. He had chunks of glass in his mouth that he did not spit out. So
yeah, like you were trying to be a hard ass, you failed. Admit defeat, walk away.
Just imagine Jean-Claude Van Damme being like, "Hey man, look, you tried really hard, but I'm not."
Van Damme.
What accent am I supposed to do?
I don't know at all.
I'm trying. I'm aiming for Jean-Claude. It just ends up Russian.
Oh, you lick glass like us.
You lick glass. I'm not impressed.
I'm not impressed.
Bliat. Sucre bliat.
Stay right there. We're going to roundhouse you right in the face. Game over.
Wait, hold on. I gotta ask you. I'm hoping one of you will know this because it's a pretty famous line. But where is "You Made Me Bleed My Own Blood" from?
Oh,
Dodgeball.
Oh, yeah. Dodgeball. It wasn't in like. There's not a serious version of it before that.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Michel.
Because I was kind of waiting for fucking JCVD to be like, "You made me bleed my own blood."
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure there's a deleted scene like that in a few of these movies.
Yeah.
They're like, this is why you don't handle script writing as much. You just do the kills.
Tong Po licks his fist.
Yeah.
Bleeds, holds up a mirror. "You made me bleed my own blood."
No, that was you dumb fuck.
He's talking into a mirror.
Yeah. Fucking
talking to the glass.
Yeah.
In his reflection.
Yeah, it's like not even
takes
intimidating.
Off the wraps. He's like, I can't do it. This glass made me bleed.
Why did I do that? I'm such an idiot.
Also the fucking where he's like,
did it at least look cool? It looked cool, right? No, it looked really dumb.
All we kept thinking was, why did he do that? We didn't tell him to do that.
Yeah.
Right now we have to shut down production while your fucking tongue heals. Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
God.
You've got so many other lines that you still need to say. You can't.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't talk that much. They filmed that scene first and he cut his tongue
first. Yep. Yeah, he had a whole dialogue written in for his character. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, dude, it was Shakespearean. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
All right, Tong Po.
fancy long ponytail thing.
Yeah.
Thing was intimidating as fuck.
Muay Thai ponytail.
Yeah, it's dope.
No.
He was a badass.
Yeah, dude. No, I don't think any of you are gonna get this, but Tong Po had that Bianca Belair going. Perfect.
You're right.
That's the reaction I was expecting.
Yeah, I had no idea what that.
You tried, and we just didn't.
Do you know Josh?
Maybe Josh knows.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't even watch wrestling, but I'm like, I know that because I know what Bianca Belair does with her hair.
Bianca Belair is this badass fucking black wrestler chick who she has a fucking ponytail that goes to her fucking feet. Yeah. And then she whips the shit out of people with it.
Yeah. Her ponytail has feet?
No, it goes down.
It goes to her feet,
dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she weaponizes it.
She's the EST.
I think I would like it if her ponytail had feet.
That would be incredible.
that would be a sight to see.
Yeah.
Her ponytail.
You could probably cut this last like 40 minutes.
Yeah, you know, I think you're, man, I think you hit the nail on the head, bud.
Yeah. Why did it fade out there? Just so naturally, like, just ended, out of nowhere. Like, because we were talking about fucking swimming, ponytails in Hong Kong.
We leave it. We just put a little thing that pops up on the screen. It's like, you're safe to stop listening now.
Yeah.